So our culture is just that. It's based on eating properly, sleeping properly, living properly, knowing actually what is that kind of conduct that's going to help us become elevated and set a good background for practicing Krishna consciousness. And the world around us is really going in the opposite direction, but we need to be very firm. Internet should be used in a very careful way. Movies, videos, video games, you have it, so many things, virtual reality, what are those things that they call 3D that they put over?
VR glasses.
Yeah. So these things are all counterproductive and actually drain one's spiritual energy and make practice all that much more difficult. Because our goal is that we should leave this material world and we should go back home, back to Godhead. This is our motto. Back home, back to Godhead. It sounds very easy, and in one sense it is very easy because all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna. However, chanting Hare Krishna is in itself not that easy. So there's only 3 words. The mantra altogether is 16 words together, but nonetheless, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's chanting, and then there's chanting, and then there's chanting, and then there's chanting. So there's chanting with the way in which beginners chant, which is generally chanting offensively. And that becomes the major hurdle to overcome, to get out of this offensive range and get into the clearing stage, which Srila Prabhupada would call clearing stage, where one no longer commits offenses to the holy name, which we will talk about, and one is clearing away the results of one's past karma. And technically that happens very quickly and very easily, provided that we have not committed offenses. And then once all that is cleared away, then there's pure chanting. Then one chants without any burden. There's nothing else that distracts our mind, and we are fully focused on the holy name. And the result of that type of pure chanting is that one chants with love. And when you can chant with love, then you can attract Krishna. Krishna Karshani Chita. But the main thing is to actually be very careful because the offenses that one may commit while chanting Hare Krishna themselves cause major obstacles in one's spiritual progress. Let me just go through, although I think most everybody knows these 10 offenses, but it's always good to hear. So they are listed in Padma Purana. They are 10 in number. It starts, how does it start? Sadhu Lingam Aparadam Vitaniti. So Sadhu Lingam, first couple of verses, I forgot. So Sadhuninda Rambitanate Yatakyatam Tadvigaraham Shivasya Shivishnu Yayaguna Sakalinamana Diya Pashyat Harinama Hitakara 3. Guroravadhyam Shruti Shastranindanam Tatartavato Harinam Nikalpanam Namno Baladhyasya Hipapa Buddhirna Vidyate Tasya Jamedi Shudhi Dharma Vrata Tyaga Shudhavi Shuddha Kripa Pramada Ashwadadhepi Yaschindati Yashashi Upadeshanama Parada Shutva Pidharma Mahatmam Yapriti Kodama Ahamamadi Paramo Sopyastya Paradakrit. So it starts off Sadhuninda. And you got actually the first 3 are different types of Sadhuninda to criticize Vaishnavas. That, unfortunately, is a very problematic thing in today's social media world, where everyone has an opinion about everyone, and they voice it in a public forum. One should be very careful. Vaishnavas, regardless of how advanced they are very dear to Krishna, and unless that is actually one's duty to point out the fault in Vaishnavas, then we need to restrain ourselves. There's no point in pointing out faults because we're all full of faults. So, but the main thing is Krishna Eka Sharanam. The main quality of Vaishnava is he surrendered to Krishna. And if he is, then we should not take very seriously. Those faults will gradually become purified. So gossiping, speaking about others, and so on, this tends to be quite problematic. And then comes then there comes offense to the demigods. Demigods are also Vaishnavas, so we should not offend them. On the other hand, we should not offend Krishna by thinking that worship of demigods is on the same level as worshipping Krishna. This rarely happens outside of India, because no one knows anything about demigods. But it's becoming more popular. But here in India, of course, it's very widespread. Generally, people who follow some type of spiritual practice, or rather that they have some kind of tradition that they've inherited from their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents, which are often based on philosophical misunderstandings, and often it's just superstition. But it's connected with this idea that demigods and Krishna, ultimately, whoever you worship, you go to the same place. But Krishna says, Yanti Deva Prita Devam Pitrin Yantri Pitrim Buddha. No. Who you worship, you go to whoever you worship, wherever they are. So you worship Pitris, you go to them. You worship Devas, you go to them. You worship Krishna. Yanti Mam Yajnoti Mam. Then we go to Krishna. It's not all one. So that becomes, that's a very prevalent philosophy. Guru Avagya. Agya means the order. Avagya, to ignore the order of the spiritual master. So we know that in the mornings we sing Shakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastri, that spiritual masters meant to be worshipped as good as Krishna. So disobeying Krishna's order, disobeying spiritual master's order, thinking that the spiritual master is an ordinary man. He looks just like me, he walks, he talks, he jokes, he does other things, maybe. But to fall into that type of mentality, which unfortunately is also sometimes prevalent nowadays, to minimize the position of Guru. Whereas Srila Prabhupada, practically every purport, he's talking about worshipping and respecting spiritual master as good as Krishna. So it's something that requires a lot of reflection and thought. And before one takes initiation, one should be very, very sure that, yes, I'm ready to make that commitment. So whatever my spiritual master asks me, I'm willing to do. Of course, it's not that spiritual masters ask ridiculous things, jump off the balcony, show me how devoted you are. That is also not a spiritual master. So, but, and therefore it's the duty of the disciple to first check, is the spiritual master authorized? So, Krishna says, Tavidhi paripratina pariprashnena shevaya upadikshantite jnanam jnanina stapadarshana yadgatvana punarmoham evam jasashipandam. So you should see what is the result. That when I'm hearing spiritual master, for me I'm hearing Srila Prabhupada, I'm hearing Krishna. And that is what should actually stir the heart and give one suitable faith. So, and to blaspheme Vedic literatures, and Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur would say not even Vedic literatures, but other scriptures. So whether it's the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, they have a certain function. Whether their followers actually follow what's in those scriptures, that's another thing. But we should not minimize. Vaishnavas don't need to be critical of others, except of course when we're preaching. Then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we criticize everyone. In other words, anyone who's not a devotee, we have to point out what is the defect, what is the deficiency in their spiritual practice. Tatartavada Harinam Nikalpanam, very similar to think that scripture is imaginary or just an exaggeration. That statements in Shastra where it says, for instance, that just once chanting the holy name offenselessly is equivalent to 1,000 Ashwamedha yagyas. Ashwamedha yagya is the most elaborate yagya in Vedic culture. And you mean to tell me chanting once the word Krishna is more effective and more spiritually powerful? The answer is yes, and it's not an exaggeration. And there are so many statements about the glories of the holy name, about the power of devotional service. Namno baladhyasya hi papa buddhi navidyate tasya jamer hishuddhi. That one commits sins on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. That it's okay, I can break this regulative principle because by chanting Hare Krishna, I'll become freed from the reaction. It's not a proper mood with which to engage in devotional service. One should not be utilitarian in one's practice. So we should not commit any sins, period. A Vaishnava is meant to be sinless. And then Dharma is to equate chanting Hare Krishna with some type of, well, that it's a dharmic activity, some kind of pious activity. There's so many pious activities, digging wells, planting trees, donating cows in charity, feeding Brahmins. These are all pious activity. And to think that chanting Hare Krishna, which is the foremost of devotional activities, Nama Sankirtanam Jasya. This is how Srimad Bhagavatam ends. Srimad Bhagavatam begins saying that, what is the verse? Tat videti swayam vayam, that in the first chapter, that fear personified is afraid of the holy name of the Lord, or the chanter of the holy name of the Lord. Apana samsmiti goram yudashogrinam sat chajo vimucheta jad viveti swayam vayam. And the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nama Sankirtananyasya Sarva Papa Panasha. Nama Sankirtananyasya. So Srimad Bhagavatam is all about chanting Hare Krishna, chanting the name of the Lord. And the evidence for that is that's what it begins with. It makes that statement, and that's what it ends with. That's what is constantly being repeated. That's what's given special emphasis through in terms of the process of chanting, namely by the example of the beginning of 6th canto, where we have, what's his name? Jamil, yes. So, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literatures. So the essence of all Vedic literatures is to chant. Committing sin on the strength of chanting the holy name, I mentioned. And then hearing all of these things, hearing Bhagavad Gita, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing the glories of the holy name, and yet at the same time one doesn't have faith, one remains faithless. So all of these things become packed up into actually one offense, and that is the offense of being inattentive. Attentive. So being inattentive, and generally these other ones is very easy to sort of put to the side. But because our minds are so disturbed from our past, therefore to actually focus on the sound vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. To focus on that sound vibration, for instance, when we do our japa, 2 hours straight, and our mind never wanders. How many have that experience? Okay, we don't see too many hands. So yes, it's very difficult. You have that experience? It's very difficult. Manda, sumanda, manda bhagya. So all of these bad qualities are there. We're so very disturbed. So it takes time. But by the chanting, the mind becomes free. But we should not. We should not be cooking, driving, answering the telephone, and so many other things. Chanting japa means dedicated 16 rounds. It may not be all at once. It may be that we do some in the morning and some in the evening. Prabhupada would even have this 4, 4, 4, 4. You split it up while you're working, and one in the morning, one at lunchtime, one in the evening, and one at night. Anyway, but it has to be quality. So this attention, being attentive, and not allowing the mind to wander. This is the basis of yoga. Yoga indriya samyamya. So Krishna says, yoga means to control the senses. And manashastra indriyani prakriti stani karshati. And the main sense is the mind. If you control your mind, the other senses are under control. So, Harinama eva kevalam. It's all we need is to chant. And such a wonderful thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought to us. Not just chanting Hare Krishna, but how you chant Hare Krishna. What is the particular goal along chanting? Who is it that we worship when we chant Hare Krishna? Of course, you know, we're worshiping Radha and Krishna. And what is our aspiration in terms of Radha and Krishna? What is the goal of that chanting? And how are we going to actually get there? There needs to be, Srila Prabhupada says that if you, we talk about the love of God, but how can you love somebody you don't know? And the only way we know about Krishna, Krishna now isn't here that we can get to know him, but he's present within Srimad Bhagavatam, he's present within Bhagavad Gita, he's present within the books of our acharyas. That is how we can get to know Krishna. And when you know somebody, then you can get to love him. So we want to go beyond this stage of anartha-nivriti, where our mind is disturbed by our past activities, this life, countless previous lives, and we want to get to the stage of nishtha. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kirtaniya Shada Hari. When you're situated in the stage of nishtha, then you can chant Sada. Kirtaniya Sada Hari. You can always be chanting. Tinadapi Sunicheva, Taroreva Satishtana, Amanena, Manadena, Kirtaniya Shada Hari. That is the quality that's required in order to actually be fixed in devotional service. That one is actually chanting, but he is very humble. So humility, to get the mercy of the holy name, one actually needs to practice humility and lead the life of a pure Vaishnava. So we're very, we're going on. We're very happy that so many guests have come. We're very honored, and that these devotees here are taking first initiation, what we call first initiation, and these are receiving the Gayatri mantras that Gaudiya Vaishnavas chant. Require everybody to give their blessings to them, that their progress along the path may be free of obstacles, or at least the obstacles get quickly removed. And now I'm going to request Shambhi Hari we're going to ask these ladies here to come forward, and they can take their vows and speak nice and loudly. And one at a time. Just give it to me one at a time. They can take your vows and offer the obeisances. Okay, you can just do here to Srila Prabhupada, spiritual master, and well, Deshna is the first one that I have here. And so let's go. Hello. Howdy. No, get it. You can do nice offering obeisances. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, please tell us what are the vows that you're taking.
I will chant 16 rounds every day.
Say that again.
I will chant 16 rounds every day and I'll follow the regulated principles.
What are the regulated principles, please?
No meat eating, no gambling, and intoxication.
Fine. And please read Srila Prabhupada's books regularly. Very important that you read Prabhupada's books. Know Krishna. Okay. Your name is name of Srimati Radharani. Of course, you're a dasi, so your servant, who's like a wish-fulfilling creeper. She's a creeper, and Krishna is like a desire tree. She's a desire creeper, and Krishna's a desire tree. Okay, your name is Kalpa Latika Devi Das. Okay, next person is Ekta. And, oh yes, we didn't put on the, sorry, yeah, let's put on the Kantimala. And please put on the change, put on first Kantimala. Ekta. You know, in Sanskrit, there are very few names that start with E. So this one doesn't start with E. It was Prabhupada's practice, but it wasn't hard and fast rule there. It can be something else. And, okay, come this way. Okay, let's give a little space. Okay, you're taking no. You gotta say pronouns. You don't just bow down. This is not right. You have to do it again, and you have to say Prabhupada's pranam, and say Guru's pranam. Yes. Takes time. Do you know what she's saying? Wait, you're just going over and saying Prabhupada's pranam.
You have to chant Guru Maharaj's
What about your spiritual master's pranam? You did that?
Yes, she did.
Okay. I thought we were chanting japa pronouncement. Well, this is sun, and this sunshine but we have the moon and we have the moonshine, and there's lotuses that bloom at night. Which lotuses bloom at night? Blue lotus. Blue lotus. Blue lotus blooms at night. So Krishna is like a blue lotus. So, and Srimati Radharani is like the moonshine that makes Krishna bloom. What? I know. It's okay. Take it easy. But you're right. Yes. So before we tell you what the name is, then as per Vishwashwini's insistence, you have to say your vows.
I promise you that I will do 16 rounds japa every day, and with that I will follow all the 4 regulative principles with no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no non-veg eating.
Yes. And, illicit sex means no sex life for any other purpose other than having children. It doesn't mean sex life outside of marriage. Sometimes it's interpreted like that. Okay, so Yashashwini, can we go ahead? Okay, so your name is Kaumudi Devi Dasi. And the last, but not least, okay, so Lakshanya, such a nice name, Lakshanya. Everyone's nicely dressed. The importance is to really, how much do we value what this is initiation? Is it something that, is it a formality? Is it some kind of ritual? Am I doing it because everybody else is doing it? Or because actually this is the most important thing in my life? Unfortunately, we're not doing a fire yagya here, but nonetheless, you should all sit. Are they still doing yagyas down there? Gurukul? Yes, so in the morning, 6 o'clock. Yeah. So we should go in the morning and sit in the yagya and do the needful. I didn't want to make a mess here, and if there's any beehives, they don't take kindly to smoke. Okay, so tell us what the vows are.
I will chant minimum of 16 rounds every day, and I will follow the 4 regulative principles, which is no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication.
Okay, very good. So, well, your name is a name of, well, I take it as being Srimati Radharani, a very popular name, everyone knows it. So, name of goddess for fortune, Srimati Radharani is the original goddess of fortune. So her name is Lakshmi Devi Dasi. Devi Dasi. Very easy name, isn't it? Yes. And that will, your husband will be very happy when you have one, that you will bring lots of Lakshmi. Yes. us that we really value, that this is the most important thing that there is in life, committing to Krishna. That's Diksha Kali Atma Samarpana, Jai Kali. This Diksha Kali at the time of Krishna, Atma Samarpana, that I'm giving my Atma. I give my entire being over to Krishna, and I belong to Krishna's family. I'm part of Krishna's family. So, thank you all very much. We're going to have a little yagya, which is we're going to chant Hare Krishna for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take these gentlemen and lady into the other room and give them Gayatri mantra, and that will be the conclusion of our little ceremony. We're not serving prasadam. We're allowing everyone to take their prasadam at home. It was sort of a little too much to organize. So let's chant Hare Krishna together, and that more than fulfills the yagya that a fire yagya would also do. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva,
Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava,
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava,
Jaya Nishingadev, Jaya Nishingadev, Jaya Nishingadev, Jaya Nishingadev.
Jaya Nishingadev, Jaya Nishingadev, Nishingadev, Jaya Nishingadev.
Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivicchaya Ashtotar Shri Madhavi Churanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Shri Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Satchitananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Vishnupad Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rup Samatam Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Saraganta Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Prem Sagos Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Govardhana Chamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Shri Praradna Shingadeva Ki Jai. Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Avitam Ki Jai. Gangamayi Jamunamayi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Parinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the Samo devotees. All glories to the Samo devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our little ceremony here, and we have Shambhari is somewhere or coming to distribute a little prasadam, just some sweet to everybody. Oh, you're here. Where's your prasadam?
We're in the table. On the way out, everybody's going to get one little piece of Mahaprasadam.
Thank you all very much for your kind attendance. And we look forward to seeing you again. If we are holding any function, then we shall let you know, although inside we cannot accommodate so many people. Hare Krishna.